You are about to witness bodily dismemberment, sub-zero temperatures, and all-out mayhem. Brought to you by the Frontline Network.
Sup COH fans, and welcome to episode 13 of Frontline Fatalities Season 3, brought to you by the Frontline Network, presented by me, FatalSaint, and today with a special guest, Ipkaifung. What's up, Ipkai?
Hello, how are you all doing? I'm good.
You're good.
Yep.
So we'll be doing some guest casts for the coming, I think, at least this one, obviously, as Ipkai is here with me today, and maybe we'll get another guest caster for next episode, as well as Tommy is a bit ill at the moment, so I've had to scrunch up some replacements, so for now at least. So hopefully we'll have some cool stuff to show you guys. So it'll be a bit of an expert insight kind of deal going on here, or at least, you know, a player insight kind of deal going on. We'll have a replay with Ipkaifung himself playing as Germans against Odeng 101, I believe. Maybe he's some Korean player. I checked out his ladder stats, and he was up there somewhere around top 100 or so.
Yeah, he seems to be quite a good player. It was quite a long match, I remember this one being, and it was quite close for a lot of it, I think. So yeah, I thought it was worth posting for other people to watch. So
yeah, there was a comment, someone commented that it was a pretty cool game, so I'm excited to see what actually happens in this matchup between Ipkaifung himself and this Odeng, I think he's named actually. Let's put on the player names you can see here, Odeng 101. So without further ado, with our 5-second mark, ready to go, Ipkai?
Yeah, sure.
Unpause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So do you have any go-to strategies now with the new patch and the new commanders and everything?
Well, I haven't had a lot of actually playtime against the new commanders that much, but on this map, what I tend to do is go for the top all the time as Germans, because it's a lot easier to hold.
So even if you spawn on the east or the west, you always go top?
Yeah, I always go top, because I find it easier to hold. So because what I want to do is get ammo, so I can get upgrades. I find that, yeah, I don't find fuel is that important in the start. I usually find the ammo is more important to get upgrades.
Do you think it reversed for Soviets?
To
they need
some
munitions
extent,
too, or you know, throwing molotovs all over the place and stuff like that. You need munitions for that.
Yeah, no, I think that they need the fuel, because I really think that when I play as Soviets, I need to get to tier 3 or tier 4 really quickly. Usually when I play now, it's just tier 2, tier 3. I usually build tier 2, don't build anything from there, then go straight to 3, and then get out some vehicles.
So,
like
so tier 2 is just a stopgap to basically make tier 3 or tier 4 available, and then, you know, something to fall back on if your opponent overwhelms you with armor, for example, so you can get AT guns, because they're pretty good.
Yeah. It's basically I go 4 conscripts and then tier 2, then tier 3. I do, because it was when I was watching Steven play, who's good streamer actually. He was using the armored assault commander. With the radio intercept. Radio intercept's a really good ability, because it tells you what they've built, tells you their tech, tells you if they built bunkers, tells you if they built telemines as well. So like, you know where the telemines, so you can avoid them with your vehicle. So it's a really good commander. And then you've got the IL-2 Sturmovik strafe at the end, and the IS-2. So it's a very good commander. Got some nice abilities. I
actually saw a stream the other day. I can't remember who the player was, but he was versing an IS-2, which was outright beastly. And I know there's been some changes to it, but not remarkably huge changes to it. It just seems that the thing just kind of works now. I guess the meta has changed a bit.
No, it had a big damage increase actually. It went up from 160 to 240 per shot.
Yeah, but basically
yeah.
versus infantry, it's still the same thing. It will still snipe an infantryman, because before it would outright kill one man due to the damage, and right now the damage, it doesn't really make any difference. You'll still kill a guy.
Yeah.
It just seems that the meta has changed a little bit, at least, and the IS-2 has more of a fighting chance right now. And with the decrease of fuel and then the increase of manpower instead, which is, technically easier to get a hold of, obviously, as you always have a manpower income.
Yeah, it's quite a nice vehicle.
So what's your go-to strategy now for the Germans here then? I've seen you gone Gren MG, Gren so far.
Yeah, that's it. Then I'll go tier 2.
Okay, so 4 tier 1 units is still what you favor, which I see mainly what most people favor. Then we have some crazy stuff like, that Barton does, where he goes like 6 Grenadiers or 7 or something. But generally you'd see 4 tier 1 units, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I do. And then, because, I'm not so sure, because some people still get flamer cars out, so you want the scout car out as well. It's you need it to counter the flamer cars.
Oh yeah.
So I'll take tier 2. I'll build the tier 2 building, but I might not build anything out of it. It depends. If the Soviet player has gone tier 2 with MGs, Maxims, mortars, and AT guns, I'll pick a commander with mortar half track.
Ah, yeah.
Instead.
It's very potent against support weapons, obviously, and it's very hard to catch it. As long as you keep microing it and away from sticky situations, basically no one will ever get at your mortar half track.
Yeah, that's it. You just park it behind the building as a shot blocker. So yeah. I mean, I don't really like getting the flamer half track right now at the moment. It's still a powerful unit, I find, but I don't have much success using it. So,
well, each to their own, I guess.
Yeah.
If you can't get a unit working for you, find something that actually can work for you, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. So I tend to just the Grens, MGs, and then go to tier 3 and get Panzer IV out. The LMGs at the moment, although I don't think I should use them or rely on them as much as I do in this game, because I think they'll probably get addressed.
Oh,
So
the LMGs
something
on the Grenadiers.
Yeah, the MLGs on the Grenadiers. I think maybe in this replay, I think I used them a bit too much, to my own admission. So I think that they'll get addressed in the future.
So is that what you generally put as you said in the beginning of this game, that you favor the munitions income in the early game? Is that what you're aiming for, to get the heavy weapon upgrades on your infantry?
Yeah, the LMGs, because I mean, a lot of the time with the LMG, you can fight conscripts 2-on-1 a lot of the time.
Yeah, it is very powerful, and the Grenadier, obviously the base unit itself is very survivable as well.
Yeah, it is a really strong unit as well. The rifle nades as well are a really good ability. I mean, what you should do with them is, if you're being fired at by one squad, if you've got another squad that's behind a hedge or something, you should use that squad that they can't see to fire the rifle nades. So you can do tricky little things.
Very clever, yeah.
Yeah.
Using the true sights.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't know it's coming until it's too late. So you can do tricky things like that.
Yeah, you gotta outplay or outsmart your opponent. Obviously, that mostly wins you games just outright. If you outsmart your opponent, there's obviously different factors as well. Not only outsmarting will win you games all the time. You gotta keep up with the tech as well. If you get completely unteched, even if you outsmart your opponent in the early game during the infantry engagements, if you get rushed by a fast T-70, for example, and you have literally 0 counters on the field, it's gonna be over anyway.
Yeah, that's
so you gotta keep on your toes and really put the pressure on your opponent. So you're fighting quite heavily against this the northern part of the map right now. You've regained the munitions, but you're having a hard time getting this fuel on the far left-hand side. But I'm guessing you're not that worried?
No, not too worried. I mean, I find that strong tier 1 can dominate a lot of the Soviets until vehicles come out. But it's a bit like Ver. You remember when you would just have tier 1 and tier 2 builds?
Yeah.
And you can get Pack can deal with vehicles. It won't kill them outright, but it can deter them from going into certain areas. So it's still quite a strong build. So I don't have to tech up too quickly.
So I see you have your first tier 2 unit out. The scout car is on the field harassing these conscripts outside of your base, just capping away. At the same time, VP-wise, the Soviet player hasn't really drained you of many VPs whatsoever. We're actually on a stalemate right now, 476 to 476, just ticking down now for the Soviet player, 474, because he actually grabbed the VP down here in the south. It's just been whited for the entire game. So you've been fighting up in the north, and he's been trying to counter you from the north instead of just going on his merry way, capping somewhere instead where you are not, where there's no Axis presence. He seems to be really favoring aggressive Soviet play here. What do you think about that? Do you think you gotta be in your opponent's face the entire game, just constantly harassing him?
As Soviets, I believe you do. When I'm playing as Germans, it's a bit... I play not as passive as I would in COH1. It's a bit more... because the Grenadiers are a bit more offensive than Volk's Grenadiers are.
Yeah.
So I generally try to just counter-attack a lot. So they'll come to me, they'll try to come from a cut-off, then I'll try and inch some more territory of my own back.
Interesting.
Because I usually won't have a lot of the map. I don't, you know, like now I don't have a lot of the bottom. So now I'm just trying to take some of the bottom off him now, seeing as I've kind of got the top secured now.
Yeah, and doing so, that obviously will prompt a response from the Soviet. He's sending his guard squad, which he just purchased, and one of the conscript squad down south now, just instantly to try and stop this southern harassment from you. So he's only sending one squad up north, and you got an LMG on those Grens. You have 2 Grens now with LMGs. He's throwing a nicely placed Molotov, nicely microed away from you, Ipkai, as well. So, but at the same time, Molotovs obviously stops you firing your LMG for a while as you're relocating. You can't fire it on the move.
Yeah, I mean, Molotovs, they're not bad counter to LMGs. The only problem is that if you alert that you will, you know, that he'll move out of the way. So you got to do some more tricks as well. Maybe throw the Molotov behind where you think they're going to go, or cancel it to get him to move, things like that. You know, there's a few another level of mind games.
Mind games, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
what do you think about mind games and Company of Heroes franchise all in all? There's always been quite a lot of mind games going on.
Oh yeah, there has. I would have thought, you know, a lot of people don't like the bulletins, but I thought there could have been some level of mind games to the bulletins with them, because if you could, you know, just equip, you know, tank ones, the guy's going to think, oh, he's just going to build Tigers all game, and you don't build one at all.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess you could see it that way.
You know, in the loader, because people can see them at the start, so that was one thought I had in the early game. But I mean, now they changed the bulletins, so they're not really that influential on the game now.
And they did a very large rework of basically almost all the bulletins in the game right now, so that changed quite drastically, at the same time obviously changing other things as well. So I think, you know, when it comes to the MG42, it took, you know, an extra hit by having the bulletins changed and then having the unit itself changed as well, and then obviously the massive the support change as well in the patch, which made them take 25% increased damage, MGs and mortars like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a really big change.
Yeah, it stacks up. It's just not the one thing. It's like 3 things. The MG42 was changed itself, the support weapons were changed, and obviously the MG42 is a support weapon, and then the bulletins were changed, which affected the support weapons as well.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same suppression levels as it used to.
No.
But it's a lot more vulnerable now, so I find you have to keep it supported, or at least in a building, you know, until you can get support up to it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they actually haven't changed are buildings. What is your take on buildings in Company of Heroes 2? They seem to be made out of reinforced steel at times, and then random 1 grenade, 1 mortar shell can just demolish the entire building. I find it extremely, random. I don't know, very random. A bit too random, I think. I like random. It's what's basically attracted me to the franchise. It's not math. It's not 100% math. This will do this against this unit, which there is in, you know, various other RTS games. There's still, you know, RNG to Company of Heroes franchise, but I think that the building RNG is just a bit too much.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's like no consistent way I found to get rid of them. I was doing some tests with someone, I can't remember who it was now, but I was doing tests with a person, and basically it was actually harder to destroy the building when there was units in there if you were firing at it with an AT gun, you know, like you would in normal. It was a bit weird how it behaved. And sometimes mortar shells, if you just let the mortar auto fire, it would actually do more damage to the building rather than use the barrage. I found that mortars in general are a bit more effective if you just leave them on auto fire rather than using the barrage ability.
Interesting. So the game here, the match has seemed to change a little bit. You're still sending units up to the north here. You got the scout car and MG42 trying to basically stop the advancement of the Soviet horde coming up here right now. Soviet player is sending basically all of his units up north, and he also has his first vehicle on the field. Tier 3 is up with a T-34 rolling onto the field right now, but basically just a few seconds ago your first pack hit the field at the same time.
Yeah, it was just, I think at the time I noticed I'm floating a bit too much manpower now.
Something should be happening from the Soviets soon, I guess.
Yeah, I was floating a bit too much, I thought. So I thought I needed to build something. So probably a pack, maybe. The other thing as well is that I would have sometimes I build OPs as well, the munitions one, again for more munitions.
Yeah.
I think I just full retreat here now because I see the T-34 and I'm like, I don't have anything to counter it.
Oh! Nice hit from the T-34 on your scout car. It was Vet 1. It actually had been doing quite a lot of damage to the Soviet infantry in this matchup, so it's totally got its worth back, I gotta say, considering it's so cheap.
Yeah, I mean, and then I didn't see any M3, so I'm not so worried about rebuilding it. You know, I didn't see any snipers either, so...
Pack is already positioned correctly, gonna get a nice shot on this T-34 straight on the frontal armor. Nice penetration hit, but at the same time with the road bonus, this T-34 now going to be able to get around your pack, and it's forced to retreat now.
Yeah, I guess.
So what's your go-to response now? I see you got Tier 3 and the P4 cooking. Is that would it have changed if you would have seen Tier 4 with an Su-85 out instead?
I think I would have got another. I still got the P4 and then just tried to flank it, or try and disable the engine and flank it, because I don't find that Su-85, since they changed the acceleration and the turning and the speed of them, even without the far sight buff on, they're a lot easier to deal with now. With other vehicles, you can flank them a bit more effectively.
Yeah, it's easier to get at them right now, and they can't always fire at maximum distance unless they have something screening for them in front, obviously, or if they use the ability. But if they use the ability, they become even slower, so then it would be even easier for your vehicle to catch up.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I find a lot of Soviet players, myself included, I don't actually go tier 4 that much now in 1v1s. It's tier 3 with AT guns.
Oh, here comes your P4, just as the T-34 gets on the rear of your pack, but you get a nice Faust off on it, and that P4 has no trouble taking out the T-34 from the Soviet player Odeng right now. But he's putting on a tremendous amount of pressure now with this. I guess you could call that T-34 was a bit of a shock unit. It came a little bit late at around 13-14 minutes into the game. We are 15 minutes into the game right now. So, compared to, you can get a T-70 out at 9-10 minutes or so?
Maybe 8 sometimes as well. With
oh, really? Depends on the map, I guess, the resources.
Yeah, it depends how well you control the fuel. But, yeah, you can get one quite early. But yeah, it did push me back. I was cut off at the bottom then because of this push. I think I managed to get it back quite easily then, because the T-34 got killed. He threw it away then, I thought.
He got a bit overly aggressive. He's been very aggressive the entire game, but that was a bit too much. He wanted to get around the pack, obviously, but at the same time, I think he was doing good. He could have used that T-34 more of a, a support role to his infantry, which was just rolling, full steam ahead. You didn't really have that much because most of your forces from the north were, completely routed, retreated back to the base, and you were still kind of setting up. And if he kept that T-34 alive, got on a second one, he could have more effectively been fighting your P4 now. But instead, he kind of finds himself in the same position you were in just 2 minutes ago. This P4, it's uncomfortable. What's he gonna do, really?
I mean, the only thing he could do now would be to get an AT gun to help, secure the territory he's got now. But then he needs something to help, take the fight to me, and he hasn't really got that at the moment. So he'll have to wait for the fuel for another T-34.
At the same time, Panzer Grenadiers versus Vet 2 conscript with PPSHs down in the south. I actually think they have one of the PTRS rifles. Yeah, they do have one of the PTRS rifles. Must have been dropped before. I think I saw it at your southern cutoff in a previous battle between some infantry there. What do you think about the Panzer Grenadiers? I see them more rarely now. Before they seem to have been very, very popular, and they're getting less popular, I guess.
Yeah, what happened was what happens is a Vet 2, Soviet infantry gets accuracy benefits, but previously, a few patches ago, the vet bonus wasn't being applied to the units when you're up close fighting. Now they fixed that, so conscripts are actually a little bit better up close now against the Panzergrens when they're vet 2. So I like my Panzergrens only vet 1, so they don't actually perform that well. But I find people seem to be dealing with them a bit better as well. I think trying to focus them down, or they just retreat early, stuff like that, because they're aware of the amount of damage that Panzergrens can do up close.
Nice rifle nades goes in the house at the northern munitions. Did a bit of health damage, but no casualties to that country squad in the building, but he's very low health. At the same time, your P4 versus T34 in the center here, with your pack now opening up on that building closest to the Soviet base. It's going to force off that country squad in there. He took a load of health damage, but he does have healing at his base, so he didn't actually lose any manpower in that engagement. But obviously, even with one T-34, you still have a pack in support of your P4, even if it does get 18-aided, for example.
Yeah, and I think I've got some Grens nearby as well. Yeah, I've got Grens nearby to support too. The rifle nade in the mid does no damage.
I think
unlucky miss, yeah.
Yeah, must have rolled a miss somehow, or it just landed right behind him or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's moving into the center now again, but he does have the VP down in the south. You've drained him down to 308 VPs right now, so I'm guessing you feel quite comfortable right now with the situation. You got a P4. What's your next go-to unit right now? Or are you just going to respond?
I think at this time, because I saw that I have 4 CPs, very close to 5. Tiger's 200.
Oh yeah.
And the Tiger does really well against T-34s. So at the time I was thinking I'm just going to save for that now.
Okay, yeah, because I saw you were actually starting production of an Oswin, which you cancelled.
Yeah, I was thinking, I'm not that far off 5 CPs. Tiger's 200. That'd be another 3 minutes fuel-wise if I hang on to what I've got now.
Yeah. You got the south in your control again. The north has switched over to the Soviets completely again. Your P4 is up there. I guess that's to form a deterrent so they don't keep capping as you're moving in. A Vet 3 Grenadier now with an LMG equipped, and a Vet 1 Grenadier moving up north as well. At the same time, Soviet player is expanding into the center now, grabbing that VP, but at the same time, you grab the one in the south with your P-Grens. So they're doing okay, I think. 12 kills, almost Vet 2.
Yeah, they do okay. Just use them as a harassing unit, really. I try not to bring them into the main fight nowadays, because I find they're easily controlled now. So.
Yeah, before their main problems, I think, were the Soviet snipers, but you don't really see Soviet sniper play anymore since they changed. What's the cooldown on the weapon?
Well, it's not really that. It's that the M3 now is a lot better because it still keeps its machine gun.
Yeah.
And as well as that.
Oh, you mean the German
the
scout
tier
car?
1. Yeah. It's just that generally the tier 1 is counted better now by the Germans. And also penals aren't a great unit as well at the moment. They're not great mainly because of the finances. They're very expensive to reinforce. They die a bit too easily as well.
They're basically conscript with better rifles, aren't they? So the cost is quite high for them, I have to say.
Yeah, pretty much.
So your P-Grens does finally hit Vet 2. You're going to throw a bundle nade, but most likely going to be forced to retreat through your own bundle nade, killing your own squad. A bit of a blunder, I guess. I think you expected a different outcome to that grenade.
Yeah, what I should have done was throw in the grenade, waited a bit, and then
retreat. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the time I thought, I better get out of here really quickly now, throw the grenade and run, but they ran straight on top of the nade to kill themselves. So epic fail there.
It happens sometimes during every match. You see even top players do some silly things sometimes. The retreat path, sometimes they expect the retreat path. Most players will kind of memorize exactly what points of the map will generate what retreat path, etc. But sometimes the unit AI makes the guy jump a little bit too much to the north, for example, and you get a different retreat path, retreating to your own grenade or explosion or mortar barrage, for example.
Yeah, that's
things like that just happen.
Yeah, I'd say that was me panicking though, if I remember correctly. I was just like, I gotta get out of here now and throw the grenade, and then they got killed by their own
It
grenades.
happens, it happens. So you did make a doctrine choice, and you do have the Tiger unlocked at 5 CPs. You're just waiting for the fuel now, I believe. It's 720, 200, and you're gonna basically hit it at the same time here. So all of your resources will be spent on a Tiger, I guess, to counter the now 2 T-34s, and he's added on an AT gun as well. So that's easily going to be able to beat your P4. So this Tiger is much needed, I have to say.
Yeah, the Tiger, basically, if they don't... Well, actually, I think the armor on it is like 240 on the rear. So even if they ram it in the back, there's still a good chance that it won't get a disabled gun.
Oh, yeah. And only the T-34 will be damaged, actually.
Yeah, the T-34 will get you know, it might... There's a high chance that it won't come off that well, the risk of ramming. But as well as that, the guns can hardly penetrate the rear armor of the Tiger as well. It's a really formidable unit against tier 3 play.
Yeah.
And then I think I was saving then for mortar half-track to deal with the AT guns.
Oh yeah, not a bad idea, especially the obviously the support weapon, the AT gun out from the Soviet player, and also his building usage. A mortar half-track could do some good work.
Yeah. That's the idea. So I think when I get the 40 fuel, I think I build a mortar half-track.
Okay, makes sense actually. It sounds like a very sensible decision. You did have most of your infantry routed from the north, that the Soviets are basically gathering all their forces up in the north here, now trying to expand down into the center again to get this VP to stop the drain on the Soviet player, now down to 269 VPs compared to your own 423. So you got all the time in the world right now.
Yeah, I could just sit back and...
You're not feeling stressed at all, I guess.
No.
Oh, he gets a button off on your P4. Nice use of smoke to get out of that button. And that guard squad is a bit in a trouble. Vet 2 at 1 man is going to be forced to retreat through the smoke. P4 misses though.
Yeah, they're not too good at killing infantry since that change with the scatter.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially the long range scatter is quite big now compared to before.
Yeah.
So you're using recon now?
Yeah, just to see where the AT gun is now. So maybe I could come in with a P4, but I think when I looked at it, I was thinking, it's not good. Not good, really.
You're gonna go for it anyway, but you quickly reverse away and change your mind, especially with all this Soviet infantry pouring into the center now as well.
Yeah. So the Sturmovik comes in, and as soon as I see that, I know it hovers about for about a minute or so, so I just pull all my men back. Because they can get one shot by that thing.
It does do a lot of damage, but they do loiter quite a lot nowadays, so it's not the same.
Yeah, it's basically as soon as any men come out there, they might get get destroyed outright. So I didn't want to risk it. So I just waited until the plane was gone.
Nice bundle thrown from your newly purchased Panzer Grenadier out now on some hit the dirt conscript, hitting Vet 3, however, dealing quite a bit of health damage to your Panzer Grenadiers, and T-34 response is coming down south as well, while your P4 is back at base, was quite injured in that engagement against the T-34s and the AT gun in the center, and that Sturmovik coming in as well. So you're just expanding up in the north. I guess you're just going to stay away from the center until this plane leaves.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, because you'll end up with like a dead squad or something. So I didn't want to lose any of the Grens really.
You got some veterancy on your infantry. Your P4 has a Vet 1, so you can use the Blitzkrieg tactics on it. And here's the mortar half-track now, also rolling onto the field at the German base of Ipkaifung. And yeah, seems like Soviet player is responding quite well, quite fast with his T-34s. They are quite little, nimble medium tanks or whatever you want to call them. And they can stay away from your stuff like your Tiger down here in the south.
Yeah. That was a bit weird. I think as soon as I popped the smoke, it accelerated forward. Because it was targeting those guards. So some weird bugginess going on there.
Because the smoke acts as a shot blocker, and he wants to shoot them, but not through the smoke. He wants to drive through the smoke and then start shooting.
Yeah,
So mortar half-track onto the field right now. I'm guessing your primary target is this AT gun in the center. It was moved back, however, so your barrage will most likely not hit it, as the scatter is quite wide on maximum range. At the same time, obviously, he moved it.
Yeah, I think I was just barraging where I last thought the AT gun was.
It did shoot at your Tiger down south when it was buttoned by the guards, I believe. So not a bad idea. Just take a shot at it, see if you get lucky.
Yeah,
Sometimes the opponent doesn't move his stuff away. He's expecting something to come there, so he leaves it there. But you gotta shoot and scoot with everything, especially support weapons, MGs, AT guns, mortars. You know, do your thing for a little bit and then move away.
Yeah, especially true of MGs now, since they're not as potent as they once were.
But they can just flip on its own axle, killing like a 3-pronged attack single-handedly.
Yeah, well,
that was a bit crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's because conscripts didn't do enough damage to them either.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Talking about conscripts, we got quite a lot of veterancy on the Soviet players' conscript. Vet 3, Vet 2, Vet 2, quite a lot of conscript veterancy. At the same time, on your grenadiers, Vet 3, Vet 2, Vet 1, and your newly purchased Pigran got Vet 1 very fast by killing conscripts mainly.
Yeah, they did really. I think this fresh squad did quite well.
Getting some nice bundles on.
Yeah, the trick is to obviously if they're clumped, that's when to throw them. But you know, a lot of good players with Hit the Dirt, what they'll do is they'll wait for their conscripts to spread before they actually hit that ability.
Yeah.
So that's.
So even if you throw a bundle nade, you only kill the ones where the bundle actually
is. It's not worth it then. You know, you lose. You know, for 40 or 50 munitions. I can't remember how much it costs now, but it is quite expensive. So you wouldn't. You know, you try to kill as many guys as possible, really.
Yeah, get your money's worth or your munitions worth out of it as much as possible.
Yeah, that's the idea, really.
So guard squad forced off from the south. The Soviet player has a triple cap on VPs now against you. You're down to 353, draining quite quickly when you got 3 VPs against you. When you're triple capped, it goes very, very fast, and you got to do something about that. So you're expanding down into the south again, grabbing even the munitions or the strategic point outside of the Soviet base. We do have a PTRS rifle dropped on the ground here for your Pigrans or your grenadiers to pick up if you actually notice it.
Yeah, I know this, but I think I did try to grab it, or what was it now? I think I just couldn't get away from a Molotov in time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if I remember this properly now.
Hit the dirt used on some under-strength, undermanned conscript squads moving out of the base here. Oh, wow, nice Molotov. Instantly combust one of the grenadiers.
That was it.
Oh,
yeah.
Shot on retreat as well.
I think I wasn't paying attention, I think, or something. It was something daft like that, and I was a bit annoyed that I had lost them.
Yeah, very, very close to getting some nice kills on the conscript. That's the Soviet player basically tried to stop the decap of this strategic point by sending out undermanned conscript squads, which were now forced to retreat as a new grenadier squad, now Vet 3 moving on to the south here to grab this point. At the same time, you're moving into the center. The mortar barrage lay down, the mortar half-track laid down a barrage and forced the AT gun back, and now your Tiger is moving very aggressively towards the Soviet base. T-34s, 3 of them out now from the Soviet player, but as Ipkai commented on earlier, is that even on the rear armor, it's very heavily armored.
Yeah, it is. It's extremely hard for T-34s to take out. You could try and ram it, but it is a bit of a gamble. I think it works at about 40% success rate if you just look at the numbers.
And you basically 100% of the time always cripple your T-34, so you might not want to gamble that much.
Yeah, that's it really.
In desperation, I guess you can do anything that's needed, but apart from that, gotta pay attention to what's happening on the field. If you really don't have to do it, you probably shouldn't gamble. 40% is not the best percentage chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you could go for it and it might pay off, you know, but it is a really big gamble. In his situation, I think I probably might go for it though, because I don't think, if I was Soviets, I don't think I'm in a good position right now. So.
He's got his T-34s, he's got quite a lot of veterancy on his infantry, but at the same time I think he's in a little bit of a manpower hole as he's got 3 T-34s on the field. It's quite a lot of upkeep right there, as you know, in one of the recent patches all of the vehicles got a pop change, population change, which means that, you know, the upkeep is obviously higher for them, so it's hard getting. I'm gonna go check on his very quickly. He's at 93, 94 out of 100 with only 158 manpower income, so this is basically it.
Yeah, that's all. I don't think you can build anything else now. So I got Vet 2 on that P4 now, and I'll go back and repair it, because those things are nigh unkillable when you get to Vet 2.
They are game winners, those Vet 2 P4s, man.
Yeah, very potent units. I think this guy has got there's 3 conscripts, 2 guards just coming to the middle now.
It's a lot of infantry coming out from the Soviet player Odeng. He's going to move to the center right here. The southern part of the map is still in, or is yet again in Ipkai's hands, completely and quite firmly as well.
Yeah. So he's pushed in. He's going to try. Oh, and he's got a howitzer. I just seen the
Oh wow,
shots
nice.
go off now.
I just saw the packet instantly decrewed, but it's firing very, very close to his own infantry as well.
Yeah, that's a risk he takes. The thing, it does a lot of damage as well.
I think he just nuked his guard squad. I'm pretty sure he just nuked his guard squad. 4 guys die. And he doesn't want to lose much manpower right now with his manpower income being so low.
Yes, yeah, and he can't really replace squads that easily now.
Nah, he doesn't really want to lose the veterancy especially.
No. So I see the howitzer, he mass retreats, so I decided to just go in. I had enough for another tiger, so I
Oh wow, yeah, I just saw that. Second tiger
Yeah.
on the field now out from Ipkai as well. Kinda reminds me a little bit of the last replay me and Tommy did between Ricky Sheu versus Condemnation Wing on Longress, I believe it was. Ricky had, in the end, 3 tigers on the field at one point. He lost one of them, but 2 of them survived.
Yeah, so you see the T-34s here, and they're not doing loads of damage to this tiger now.
He got 3 lucky penetrations and then he got 2 deflections on the rear armor, but he is ganging up on it. But here comes this P4 now, and I can't imagine that he is expecting a second tiger on the field already.
No, probably not. And I've used Blitzkrieg. That thing, I don't think that ability should be usable.
It's kind of like
Well,
RAM isn't usable if your engine is damaged. Why would Blitzkrieg be? If you're like revving your engine like crazy, if you have a damaged engine, it would just literally blow up, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm not an engine guy, I'm not a mechanic, but yeah, it makes sense that you shouldn't be able to use it. But all the T-34 gets taken out in this engagement outside of the Soviet base, and all of a sudden he finds himself without any AT apart from guards and AT nades. Nothing left. Nothing to do. 2 tigers on the field, and even attempting to kill the first one wasn't successful. It was, as we can see, over. This game is over.
Yeah, and you can see usually as soon as I see tier 3, I'll just go for the tiger. The commander I have that offers me the tiger.
Yeah.
Just because it counters it so well.
Because a lot of people were complaining about the Tiger in previous patches, that it was just underpowered and underwhelming, couldn't really handle anything, etc, etc, etc. Do you think the last 2 replays, obviously this one and the last one me and Tommy did, I've seen Tigers in both replays. Is this a new meta? Tiger meta?
I think that it's probably a bit undervalued by forum members at the moment, I'd say. I think it's a very potent unit. It can do quite well against Su-85s as well. It's got quite good speed, does quite well damage, and it's quite tanky. And
it's very tanky, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Very, very strong armor on it as well. It does get a lot of deflections.
Yeah, since the change, what they did, they changed it so it accelerates faster. So it can get to flank targets a bit easier than it used to. So I find it's a really good unit. And then if you can get to Vet 1, it becomes extremely potent because of Blitzkrieg.
Yeah. I think the Soviet player played very well. You played extremely well as well. But very aggressive Soviet play. And as you commented on earlier in the cast, it's something that you got to do as Soviets, I guess. It just didn't work out for him this time. But it was looking quite good when he had that first T-34 on the field. You just happened to have your P4 in the works right at that moment. So... his timing was a little bit off. If he would have gone for a super quick T-70, do you think this game would have, evolved differently?
Yeah, I think so, because I was a bit slow getting a pack out to when I look back at it now. So had he got a T-70 before the T-34, it would have been a bit quicker, and it would have caused me a lot more problems.
Yeah, the T-34 itself did pose a bit of a problem. It did basically prompt you to do a mass retreat from the north completely, as your pack was just outside of your base and you had no counter to it up there.
Yeah, that was pretty much it, and it killed the scout car as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he had the T-70 earlier, he might have been able to kill the MG, maybe kill a squad as well. It's hard to say, because you can't
theory crafting at its finest,
Yeah.
basically. But obviously, you know, a faster, quick response vehicles like the T-70, he could have been all over the place as well, and he could have prompted a mass retreat from the entire map with a T-70, because it could have quicker have forced the north forces from you to retreat, and then just, you know, relocate it down south to do the same thing again. A pack just can't keep up.
No, it can't. It can just deter it, but it won't, you know, outright counter it.
Yeah.
I've seen some people that use Panzerschrecks. They're not too bad as well as a mobile deterrent, but still, it can be dangerous. You know, if they don't hit the T-70, the guy, you know, the guy might want to drive it in further and kill your squad off as well. You know, if he gets lucky, you get unlucky.
Yeah, it's a lot of
know.
munitions down the drain then if you lose your
Yeah.
squad there. But at the same time, I've seen, as you say, Panzerschrecks being quite potent against T-70s. A very good counter actually, and very mobile counter compared to the pack. But obviously, you gotta have the munitions bank to start off with, and obviously have tier 2 up and get the P-Grand squad on the field as well. And a T-70 can come extremely fast, as you say, almost at 8 minutes. Is that really, you know, possible? I guess depends on you know, your mapping, your fuel income.
Yeah, I think if you have about half the map and a high fuel, I think you can squeeze one out maybe at the 7-minute mark, 8-minute mark, as long as if you don't get any Molotovs or 18-8s.
Yeah. Sounds
then
like
you
a super fast M8 from Vico, kinda.
Yeah, if you go tier 1 and then tier 3, the problem is with tier 1, it does cost a bit less fuel. It's
Yeah.
10 fuel less, but you don't have the AT guns to back you up if P4 comes out.
It's kind of like an all-in fast T-70 thing, kinda. If your opponent does, you know, a fast, maybe even a fast tier 3, or he gets lucky to kill your T-70 with, you know, either mine, Panzerschrecks, or a pack, for example, you can be in a bit of a hole, I guess.
Yeah,
Bit of a gamble. Everything's a gamble in Competitive Heroes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a gamble. But I think if you use the any command with radio intercepts, you could possibly, by the time you get 1 CP, you could find out where the telemines are planted, so you can avoid those traps.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you can know if what your opponent actually has on the field, so you know how much you can actually press your T-70 into the enemy lines. If you see that no pack has been constructed and no mines or even Panzerschrecks, you can just run rampant all over the field, and just all you have to do is stay away from the Faust range on the Grenadiers, and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's it, pretty much.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very cool game. Thanks for joining me, Ipkai. And,
no problem.
Was a outright pleasure. Hopefully we'll get you on the show for a few more games in the future. And I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like this video, and tell all of your friends. And we'll see you guys for the next episode. See ya.
Bye.